This is Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network. You know, Donald Trump really has the worst lawyers ever, but there's an expression that you sometimes get the lawyers that you deserve. And so after the affidavit in connection with the search warrant that was executed at Mar-a-Lago on August 8th of 2022 was released in a partially unredacted form on Friday, Donald Trump's dream team, or nightmare team of lawyers, rather, like the worst crew of lawyers ever. What do? They go on their radical extremist TV networks, leading the charge. Alina Habba, who doesn't really know what the law is, and she goes on radical extremist network Fox, speaks to Jesse Waters, goes to Newsmax, does the rounds, but really shows she has no clue what the law is. And that's not hyperbole. You know, we don't do hyperbole here on the MeidasTouch network. She literally just doesn't know what the law is. And, you know, they keep saying the Presidential Records Act has no criminal penalties and that a president can just literally take top secret, sensitive, compartmented information that you're supposed to view in special compartmented like information facilities. You could take our nation's top secrets, do whatever you want with it, steal it from the White House. They think that there's no criminal penalties associated with it. Like, you don't need to go to law school. Like, you could ask a middle schooler or like an elementary school student, is that illegal to steal national secrets? And they would tell you that it is. But that's a complicated concept to Alina Habba. So just play this clip.
Look at this. Half the whole affidavit's like that. Did you learn anything from this document, Alina?
Yeah, I learned that we were right, that this is, again, another political witch hunt, that they're ignoring the fact that the Presidential Records Act protects the president and allows him to have the ultimate authority to declassify things, and they blacked out anything that would be relevant. Frankly, there is nothing that's relevant. You know what I learned from this, Jesse? That this was about documents, the same documents that NARA and our attorneys on the ground that were handling this had been cooperating and working with the DOJ to get to NARA. Do you know that the Presidential Records Act doesn't even have a fine or penalty in place because it's a cooperative working together scenario for any president, except you're allowed to put it in your sock drawer, smash emails, and hide it in your crotch if you're a Democrat. But if you're a Republican, forget it. We're coming in with 30 guys.
You know, if Alina Habba would just read the portions of the affidavit that are not redacted, like it literally spells out the crimes in the affidavit. This isn't a stretch. So when the DOJ had to establish probable cause from the magistrate judge, they have to list the crimes. The crimes are listed. And so if she looked in the affidavit that was released, the unredacted portions, paragraph 8, under 18 U.S.C. section 793, which is the Espionage Act, whoever having unauthorized possession of, access to, or control over any document or information relating to the national defense, which information the possessor has reason to believe could be used to the injury of the United States or to the advantage of any foreign nation, willfully communicates, delivers, transmits, or causes to be communicated, delivered, or transmitted, or attempts to do or cause the same to any person not entitled to receive it, or willfully retains the same and fails to deliver it to the officer or employee of the United States entitled to receive it, shall be fined or imprisoned for more than 10 years or both. So, Alina Habba, that's one of the statutes there. But, you know, we could keep on reading. How about if we go to paragraph 20, 18 U.S.C. 1519, obstruction. Whoever knowingly alters, destroys, mutilates, conceals, cover up, falsifies, or makes a false entry in any record, document, or tangible object with the intent to impede, obstruct, or influence the investigation or proper administration of any matter within the jurisdiction of any department or agency of the United States, or any case filed under Title 11 or in relation to the contemplation of any such matter or case shall be fined under this title and imprisoned for not more than 20 years. Or how about paragraph 21, 18 U.S.C. 2071, whoever willfully and unlawfully conceals, removes, mutilates, obliterates, or destroys, or attempts to do so, or with the intent to do so, takes and carries away any record, proceeding, map, book, paper, document, or other thing filed or deposited with any clerk or officer of any court of the United States or in any public office, or with any judicial or public officer of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years, or both. Notice none of those criminal statutes that I said even mentions classified information, because that's actually not a requirement for the criminal statutes that the FBI and the DOJ obtain the warrant when they had to establish probable cause or the crimes that they are investigating. So it's actually very clear what the crimes are. They're very serious crimes. Stealing national defense information and just throwing it all over your home in Mar-a-Lago and not securing it and doing whatever else you may be doing with it, and then lying to the government that you've returned it all when you haven't. Yeah, that's a crime. Very basic crimes that are there. Then Alina Habba, of course, goes on other radical extreme networks. This time, sometimes even hard to know which extreme network this is. Maybe Newsmax or OA, who the hell knows. But this is her in one of them basically saying to this host, we don't even know what happened like between January of 2022 when 15 boxes were delivered to the government, and then August 8th when the search warrant was executed. What happened? Let's play this clip.
Very quickly, is there any explanation anywhere that explains why it had to be a raid when you turned over documents in January, yet the raid happened in August and there was cooperation in between? Why the surprise raid other than politics?
Absolutely not. Unequivocal. There's absolutely no reason. It doesn't make sense. In 100 years, we have never used this statute. It's antiquated. It's old. It doesn't exist for any purpose other than true espionage. But leave it to the Biden administration to put it into place against President Trump because he's leading in the polls.
Again, we can just look in the affidavit. Like, this isn't a real mystery anymore. I mean, some of the detailed facts, like who the confidential informants are, who the other witnesses are who've been testifying against Trump, the sources and methods, that stuff's redacted. But we know from looking at this declaration, the timeline of what happened, right? Trump leaves the White House in January of 2021. He's spotted with trucks that were hauling out boxes that were bringing these documents to Mar-a-Lago. The National Archives identified that these documents were stolen or taken. They finally had Donald Trump return the 15 boxes in January of 2022. They start going through these boxes in March and April and more like May of 2022 because Trump was still kind of hindering. They were making all of these claims to Trump and his lawyers of executive privilege, which the archives said there is no executive privilege. Trump didn't object to that. Trump didn't go to court to stop that when the National Archives finally said by April and May, there is no executive privilege here. We're looking through it. And when the archives looked at it, they were horrified. They were like, there's top secret national defense information. There's sensitive compartmented information here that's just all over the place. Like, what in the world is going on in these things? They tried to get other records. Trump's lawyers basically gave the middle finger to them. The letter that Trump's lawyer sent that's also attached to the affidavit, where Trump's lawyer said, well, basically go pound sand. And if you ever want to do anything with us, attach this letter and show the judge this letter. So the DOJ attached the letter when they got the affidavit. And we also know that Trump's lawyers apparently, and whether it's Alina Habba or Corcoran or Christina Bobb, but one of them apparently lied to the FBI also in June when the FBI top counterintelligence official went to Mar-a-Lago. They said, we've returned all of the records, and we now know that that's not the case. We know that the records were not returned. How do we know that? Because we've actually seen the return. We've seen in connection with the search warrant, one of the documents is called a return, and the return says that there is top secret, sensitive, compartmented information that was found when the FBI searched the home. So what that means is that essentially the crime has been proven, right? The fact that that material existed there and was not turned over, and that information should have been there, and it was then found. We don't know what was in the redacted portions, but we know they found what they were looking for. We know that because it's listed. It doesn't say specifically what it is, but we know it's listed as top secret, sensitive, compartmented information was obtained. So we know that the government found what they were looking for, and we know that there was a crime. So that's what happened. It's mostly written in the affidavit, but Trump's lawyers don't know what they're doing. They're not national security lawyers. They're not Espionage Act lawyers. They have no clue what they're doing in this space, and it shows each and every day. And I suppose that may appeal to 25 to 30% of the American population. And the goal is just to keep on lying and lying and lying and finding lawyers who are willing to risk their bar licenses, saying ridiculous things like that and signing their names to court filings. But like, lawyers are laughing at that. Lawyers think that's ridiculous. Real lawyers are like, what the heck are you talking about? And they just keep digging and digging and digging the hole deeper, which is great at the end of the day for democracy. And so hope that breakdown helps to also show the just utter lack of knowledge and disinformation that these lawyers are spewing. Just give you some facts, just facts. Okay. That's all we want is the facts at the end of the day. That's what we do here at the MeidasTouch Network. Just break down the facts for you, real law and order. Okay. Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Please hit the subscribe button now and make sure you're following MeidasTouch on YouTube. We're not just the fastest growing independent media, we're the fastest growing movement, and you're a part of this movement. You're a part of the Meidas Mighty. You're a part of the MeidasTouch Network family, and we really appreciate it. We're nowhere without you, and we're trying to rethink the way media is done and just deliver the news the way it should be delivered. No BS, just like this. So it's important that you hit subscribe. It helps the growth of this channel, and appreciate how you support Meidas Mighty and the MeidasTouch Network. Ben Meiselas signing off. Thank you.
This November is Rowvember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rowvember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.meidastouch.com to grab yours. That's store.meidastouch.com.